there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. It is Sat Chat Valentine's edition. I'm filming this on Valentine's Day. It is, oh, I can't see my clock. I've been redoing the lighting in here, and there's a huge streak of glare across my clock, and I have no idea. I think it's around noontime. It's Valentine's Day, the day I'm filming this, and I love Valentine's Day. I always have. Even when I was a dorky little nerd, I loved Valentine's Day because you got to have the day you didn't have to do schoolwork, and you got to decorate like cereal boxes and make little like mailboxes out of them, and you would give Valentine's to all your friends. I absolutely loved it. And my mother was big into crocheting when I was a kid, and she would crochet little hearts. Kind of like the earrings I had on last week. She would crochet little hearts and put pins on them, and you do a whole classroom's worth. I used to love making Valentines with my kids, and yeah, I just love Valentine's Day. And so this year I decided that, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see my husband's reaction. But I decided this year for Valentine's Day, I was going to clean and organize Jason's shop. And so I started Monday. And I mean, it was just, he'd been talking about, well, see, this is the thing, because you may be thinking, there may be some men out there watching this going, whoa, you don't touch a man's shop, Lindsay. Oh, this isn't going to go well. And you're probably all nervous and stuff like that. No, but listen to this. So this was about a week or two ago, a couple weeks ago. You know, it was probably a month ago now. I went over to his shop and I was looking for a caliper because I was doing a color pencil review, and I was trying to tell if these color pencils I was reviewing were thinner or thicker. You know, I couldn't tell how thick they were. So a lot of times by just picking them up, you can kind of tell if they feel like as thick as this, or and that's kind of a statement of quality. Thicker barrels generally better, especially for protecting a really soft lead pencil. Anyway, I was over there looking for his caliper. I also wanted to measure the width of the lead in the pencil, and he has a digital caliper, which is much better than, I think I might have a little sewing one or something, but it's not as precise. Or, you know, it probably is precise, but you can't, like, it doesn't have markings for those teeny tiny little readings. Anyway, I was in there looking for a caliper, and it was a hot mess over there. The counter was strewn with different tools, and I know that I am to blame sometimes because I'll go borrow something, or I'll ask if I can borrow something and I don't know where it goes, so I'll set it on his counter, or he might be doing a project around the house and then leave a bunch of tools at the end of the counter upstairs, and I just, when I'm coming downstairs, I'll just bring whatever's on the end of the counter. If it goes downstairs, I'll bring it with me, and if I don't know where it goes, I just kind of set it on his off-feed table. And anyway, and he had done projects, and my son Jackson sometimes works over there too, although Jackson has his own place now, so he's hardly ever over in the shop there. He's building his own workshop. So when I told him I was downstairs looking for a caliper, and I said, oh, it's getting a little crazy over there. He goes, did you clean and organize it for me? And just like the look on his face, oh, I think I said, it looks a little disorganized. And he goes, and so you organized it for me? Like with this hope on his face that I had gone and done that. And so then I realized, oh, he would not be opposed to me organizing his studio, his workshop. So I filed that away. And then I thought that would be a really cool Valentine's present, but I knew I couldn't do it in a day. It would take a few days, and I'd have to do it at a time where he's not around during the house. And I'm like, well, Valentine's is on a Friday this year, and I'd have all week, and pretty sure he's not going to come downstairs for anything. If anything, he might come downstairs to the freezer at the end of the stairs to grab a pizza or something. And the way our basement is set up, when you come downstairs, there's a freezer right in front of you, there's a utility room built like in front of that. If you turn to your right, then you would see the door to my studio, and then the other half of the basement, you see the workout area, and I have white fabric hanging down that kind of cordons off the exercise area from his workshop, so that like dust and stuff, the sawdust and whatnot, doesn't get all of the exercise equipment. And so even if he came down for something in the utility room or in the freezer, he wouldn't necessarily see his workshop, see what it looks like in there. And then the room of hoard is on the other side of this. So the room of hoard is like on the that back quadrant of the basement, butted up against his area, and there's like tarps hanging in between. I know, this is a real classy establishment we were running here. Anyway, it works, right? So Monday I went in there and I tackled the worst part, because I'm a big believer in eating the frog. You do the worst thing first, so then everything else is kind of like it's downhill after that. And he had this, his workbench, main workbench, just littered with so much stuff. It's just like, it was a dumping ground. And also his off-feed table and main work table was just covered. So I'm like, okay, let's just tackle that. Let's just go through it and put away things. So I didn't really have to reorganize because I found a bunch of drill bits. I just put them where the drill bits go, on the shelf with the drill and the drill bits. If I found a bunch of random cleaning supplies like spray wipe down stuff and paper towels and stuff like that, I just put them all together. So basically that's what I was doing, just kind of putting things back where he'd already had them, kind of where he'd already had spaces for them. And then I neatened up shelves, and it just kind of made a little bit more order to it. But if he was like going for his wood glue, for instance, it's still in the same place, but it might be in a little bin with all the glues together. There was probably like 6 tubes of caulking sitting on the top of the shelf, but then there was a stray caulking gun over here, and there was another tube of caulking over there. It's like, okay, most of them over there, that must be where they live, so I would just go get the caulking and put them all together. So, and because they were just kind of like tipping over and there was nothing corralling them, I found a tin with high sides that I could put them all in so they wouldn't tip over, and you know, if you went to reach for one and you knocked 3 down, you know, that wouldn't happen. So it was just a lot of just really logical stuff, not really messing with how he had it organized, but trying to put everything where it will logically go. And then, so I did that on Monday, and then I wiped down the counters and wiped down the big tables, work table in the middle of the room where it can feed things off from the table saw. And then the next day, I went and I looked at the wood storage rack. So he has a bunch of shelves, like plastic shelves you could get at the Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. And they're all lined up together along the wall that would be shared with the room of hoard. So on my side, I've got all these like scrapbook cubes stacked up and cube shelves stacked up, like making a wall on my side. On his side, he's got a bunch of these plastic shelves making a wall. On his side, there's like tarps hung up in between to keep the sawdust from flying. It's a little classier than it sounds, maybe slightly, a little bit. You know, it just has to work. I call it the room of hoard. It's not the room of luxurious beauty. You know, it is what it is. I'm not like putting on airs here. So I'm looking at the wood, and it's just a jumble. It's like if you could make a tangle of wood, that's what it was, just a big tangle, a big snarl of wood. And I'm like, there's got to be a logical way to put this wood together. I'm like, you could store it by size, we could store it by type, we could store it by use. So, but of course then you have small pieces of all these different kinds, and it was very overwhelming. But then he also had this big bin that was all like scrap, I think stuff to burn probably. And whenever I need wood for a project, I just go to that bin, because I know if it's in the bin, he's not going to miss it, and I grab it from the big to burn bin, I guess. Because usually if I'm getting something, I'm kind of deathly afraid of power tools. I grew up with, my dad was a builder, and so there was always saws and tools and stuff out, like set up, plugged in, and my parents put the fear of God into me about those power tools, and to this day I don't think I've ever operated an electric saw in my life. That's horrifying. So I don't go and touch the tools. So if I need like a piece of wood, I'm like looking for something that's about the size that I need, because I'm not using a tool I would use a handsaw, but I'm not like using an electric saw or something. So I'm always just rooting around in the garbage bin looking for a piece of wood that's about the size that I need. So then I was looking at the wood. I'm like, okay, I found a bunch of MDF. I'm like, let me start with something I can identify. There were all these little pieces of MDF, which is like masonite, that I had him cut me down for some projects way back in the day. And also I had him cut some pallets, and we had done some wine things, just things for me to paint basically. So I found all those. I knew that those were something that I had him cut for me, but for whatever reason I think he was still using them for something else, because there were extras that I didn't need. So I found a crate, and I put them all in that crate. They all stood up on their ends, so you could take one out without like tipping a whole pile over. And then I saw a project that he had in progress, which were these wine bottle boxes that he made for gifts. And back when we used to do craft fairs, he made a bunch of those that we'd sell them. So he had about 4 cut out that weren't made yet, and 1 that was already made. So I put those all together. I didn't have a bin or a crate or anything to put them in, so I just kind of put them together on the shelf. And then there were just random scraps and random pieces, but they were still with the good wood. So I didn't want to put them in the bin, because they're obviously something he's saving, I would think. If not, he can look through and be like, why is that stuff there? And he can chuck it in the bin. But I'm not chucking anything in the bin that I don't know. It could be the most precious wood. It could be like him coming in here and finding like a quarter of a tube of, Michael Harding watercolor and just throwing it away because it's almost empty. Yeah, he wouldn't do that. I'm not doing that. That's just, I don't know its value, right? So I get everything neatened up. I did end up taking like larger pieces of wood that were kind of teetering like a seesaw on top of smaller random piles and kind of tucked them underneath stuff and just tried to make it a little bit neater. And then, yeah, there was a lot of like just kind of dusting off the different tools that were, power tools that were like set up. I didn't take anything down that was set up because I figured, well, he must want it there for convenience. And I went through the paint stuff a little bit. I mean, this sounds like I did this humongous thing. I just worked on it a little bit every day. And then yesterday, I took out the shop vac, and the shop vac is huge, and it just kind of sits there in the corner, but it's kind of in the way. It's got this long hose to it, and I know that he hooks it up to his saw and different machines sometimes to like pull out the dust. So I knew that needed to be convenient, but where it was just kind of like, almost it seemed like it was fighting for space with this rolly chair he has in there, which I don't know if the rolly chair is a great idea in there, but again, it's not my space, it's his space, so I didn't remove it. But I took the shop vac, I vacuumed up everything I could off of like all the sawdust that I could. I don't like really using the shop vac because it's very cumbersome. Like when I'm vacuuming my areas, I bring the Electrolux from upstairs down because it's easier to maneuver. I feel like it does a better job, but I'm also not sucking up sawdust and like really, you know, stuff that may be harmful to a Electrolux. So I vacuumed it up as good as I could with that. I also used a whisk broom before I vacuumed and tried to brush off any sawdust and just dust that I could find. And got that pretty well cleaned up. And then I actually did bring the shop vac over to the room before and tried to clean up there a little bit. Just, I'm going to come down with the Electrolux. It wasn't really that bad. I just had some paper scraps and whatnot that could use to be vacuumed up. And then I neatly wound up the cords and just kind of tucked it off to the side so he could easily pull it out when he needed to, but it wasn't kind of like right in the corner of action. And I think if you're thinking about like designing your kitchen, designing your art studio, your craft space, you've got this kind of area that's kind of the center of action where you've got hands on a lot of different materials and you don't want things tripping you up. So you wouldn't want to you might want to have a trash can in your center of action, but you don't want a huge trash can that you're going to trip over. You want something that's easy to reach from wherever you are, but not like right in the middle of the place. And that's kind of what that the shop vac was feeling like, because where I tucked it over, you could easily pull the hose out and get it to the table saw. You could easily get the plug to an outlet, but it's not right in that corner of action where you've got the drill press and the bandsaw and the scroll saw and the bench grinder, the sander. Sometimes I go over there and I use the bench sander. So it's not right there where you're gonna be aggravated, where it might not really be in the way where you can't work, but it's like trudging through deep snow over there when you have so much stuff right there. So I tried to get stuff cleared out so when you go in there, you're thinking like, yes, I want to create something, because he wants to create, but he hasn't been feeling very inspired. So I think that'll be very inspiring. So we got home from work yesterday. I was like, oh, I really want to show him what I did, because I was pretty much at that point I was thinking I was done. Oh, some other things I did was just, and a lot of things, I don't want to say reorganized, because I helped him organize it once at one point, or get him started with it. But like he has this box with a hole cut in it that's full of rags, and a lot of the rags are like, you know, you have mismatched socks, or the kids outgrow t-shirts, or you cut up t-shirts or whatever. And he had those all shoved into a box. But then he's like, we're always, you know, 'cause we don't have recycling in our town. So we try to reuse stuff as much as possible. So even mismatched socks or old t-shirts, we just cut them up and use them for rags. I'll use the t-shirts if they're lighter color for like watercolor painting. But he uses most of them for like staining and cleaning and doing woodworking stuff. So he had the box of rags, then there was like a random trash bag of rags. So I'm like, oh, easy, take this, and I kind of shoved them into the box. They fit, threw that bag away because it was all torn up and kind of gross. And then I found a whole other bag, like a reusable shopping bag, just packed to the brim with like mismatched socks and other rags. So I put that up on the shelf next to the rag bag. Found some random tarps that were kind of like unraveling. Fold those up nice and tight. Put those in between the two rag bags, so you could still get the rags out, or you could get a tarp out without everything tumbling down. And there's a lot of different things like that if you can just go in and tackle those quick wins, you'll make so much of a difference, and you don't have to think too much, you know, because after about an hour and a half, 2 hours of working over there, I had decision fatigue. It's like, I don't even know where to go anymore. I'm done. And I get that way when I'm like doing stuff in my studio or in the bathroom or the kitchen, any place you're reorganizing or decluttering, you get to a point where it's like, I have no more bandwidth for decisions, and then you want to take a break, because that's the time where you do things in a hasty fashion where it's like, I just want a quick win, I'm just going to get rid of this. But then if you're doing that with a hasty fashion, that's when like you hear people say, every time I get rid of something, I need it the next day. I think it's when you're making those decisions at that point, because you're not really confident with your decisions. You're just kind of like, I just want to keep progressing, but you really just need a break. And if you take a break and you come back, you're going to be better off for it. So, it was looking pretty good, and I really wanted to show him last night, and I'm like, how do you want your Valentine's present early? And he's like, no, it's not Valentine's Day yet. I'm like, I really want to show you what I did, but then I'm like, but don't get your hopes up. I don't want to like oversell it or anything. So he has no idea. I don't think he has any idea that I've been doing this. So then there was one other thing I wanted to do, but I was nervous to do it, and that was to do lighting. I wanted to install some lighting in his area because his area is pretty dark, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons that it's not very inspiring for him. And about 6 months ago, well, it's probably more like a year ago now, 6 months to a year, last year sometime, we put new lighting in the exercise area down here, and what a difference it made. Oh my word, we bought these, actually I put two in here to practice. So I knew we had another box of them. I put one over my die cut area in the room before because the shop light I had there was flickering a lot. And so I was replacing one shop light with, I had two shop lights over there, replacing one with these LED lights, and just turning that on, it's so bright. They're so wonderful and bright. And we did that in the exercise area. We had these lights for like years, and we had not put them up yet. And I'm like, let's just do that. It took us like half an hour. It wasn't that bad, but it was both of us doing it. He was putting up the clamps. So to install them, you screw these clamps into the ceiling, and then you pop the long LED lights into them, and then you plug a little plug into the end, and you plug that into the wall, and then you can string them light to light to light. There's like these little connector pieces. So I'll show you. So I'm like, well, I wanted some of those in here to get rid of some of the clip lights that I had up on the ceiling, and to bring in a little bit more even light. And one of my lights had a little hum to it, so I'm like, well, I'll try it in here, and if I can do it, then I'll go do it in his area. That way I won't make a big mess in there. So I'm just going to tip up there. So I put two up there, and it wasn't that bad. I knew where the drill was and all the drill bits because I just organized that area. So there we go. So I used the drill to make little holes for the clamps, and I put them up, and I put 3 in his area to kind of like light. He has 2 shop lights and just an overhead light, just like a little naked bulb on the ceiling, type, murder dungeon lights. I guess you always see those in a horror movie. It's like this single light bulb with a little pull chain. But that actually has a socket on it. So I hooked I started the first light kind of nearby that, and I plugged it into that socket that's on the light with the pull switch. And then I went, so we have a light going this way. So then I did a light going this way. And then, is that how I did it? No, I did a light going this way, and then a light going this way, because he had no lighting over the wood area, over his wood shelves. So, I mean, how are you going to see what you got, really? And then I did one wrapping back around where his, like, bandsaw and stuff are all set up, that workbench, because his other workbench has a good light. That workbench did have a shop light, still does have a shop light. I didn't take anything down. But it also kind of is in the way if you're trying to reach some clamps that he has hanging up on the wall and other things on the wall. So if he took that shop light down, it would also open up the look of it, because it's right in front of a window, a casement window. So I think that would work out pretty well for him. But, if maybe he wants to keep them both, that's totally up to him, but I just left them up. But now I think it looks great. Although now that there's all that new lighting in there, I'm thinking, oh, I'm seeing a lot more dust that I didn't see before. But I think at this point, we're going to call it done. I'll let you know in the video description or in the comments or something how he liked it. I hope he liked it. I hope he's not like, woman, what did you do with my... woman. Yeah, he's never said that. But, ooh... What did you do to my space? I don't even know what that is. Yosemite Sam? I don't know. But I'm really excited to see. So I have a little gift over there, a little box I found. I could not find any sugar-free Valentine's, heart-shaped Valentine's candy boxes anywhere. Not at the grocery. Okay, I went to the grocery store. I didn't go like all over town or anything. But because the place where I used to buy sugar-free chocolate went out of business, and I haven't found another place that sells it. So they didn't have anything in the Valentine's section. I asked the person that was stocking the shelves, and she said they sell sugar-free candies, but it's like with regular candy. So I did find some assortments that like peanut butter cups and Needhams and turtles, things like that. So I got that, and then a little thing of like Reese's peanut butter hearts. He's not supposed to have very much sugar, although he does. But I'm trying to like keep all of the Valentine's treats, you know, healthy and positive. But I did get a couple little Valentine peanut butter heart things. But in the freezer right now, I have vegan, keto, high protein peanut butter balls, sugar free, and I've got to drizzle them in chocolate and then like put some crushed nuts on them. But I'm gonna have those ready for him too when he gets home. So I think that'll be pretty cool. I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what he thinks about his shop. But it's not like I don't think he'll hate it, because I didn't really move too much stuff. I just put things away and cleared things off and put things in logical places. So hopefully he'll like it. I think you will. I think you will. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see his reaction. And that's been my week. Last week, after I filmed Sat Chat, I went down to visit my parents because my mom's birthday was last weekend, but we were getting snow on Sunday, so I decided I would go on Friday, and after I filmed Sat Chat, and then visit with mom and dad and bring her a present, and I brought her some cupcakes and a plant, a calla lily plant. Oh, there were so many pretty plants at the grocery store, which you probably think I am just like, you know, so, what's the word, uncouth. Yes, I buy candy and plants at the grocery store. I go to like one store. I go to my local grocery store for most things, honestly. Cosmetics, everything. If I can't get it at the grocery store, I don't need it that badly. But it's local. Hey, I'm keeping local people employed. Anyway, beautiful, beautiful plants. They had so many pretty plants, probably for Valentine's Day. There were cyclamen, there were roses, and I thought about getting flowers, but it's like a plant is better because my mother has really good luck with plants, and then they'll just keep growing. It's not there. When you buy flowers, they're already dead. So, they were really pretty. The calla lilies were gorgeous, but they had so many pink and red flowers that it was just like, it was kind of hard to choose. I was like, these all look so good. And I was there early enough because it was a week before Valentine's that they had just put everything out. Everything looked awesome. So I brought her that and some cupcakes, and then I grabbed a Daya cheesecake, which is a vegan type of cheesecake, and like, she might like this, I will like this, that way I can eat cake with her and celebrate her birthday. And I got the Daya cheesecake. It used to be 5 servings. It is 3 servings now, and it is like a tiny, it's like probably not even an inch high. It is so small, and the outside box is the exact same size. They went from 5 servings to 3 servings. It was, I was just like, I'm appalled. I'm appalled because it was like $1 more than it was last time I bought it. But anyway, had a nice visit, and yeah, we just got snow yesterday. We're supposed to get a lot this Sunday. I think somewhere, I've heard different models, different forecasts. Some forecasts are saying like 9 to 13 inches during the day, and then 5 to 8 inches at night, plus like additional. And then I've seen stuff that is saying 6 to 12 inches, but still, I mean, that's a chunk of snow. So I imagine we'll be snowed in. Hopefully we will have power, but if not, we have a generator, and I have things scheduled out on YouTube. I have a kids craft coming up on Sunday because school vacation's coming up, and so if you've got crayons and water-based markers and paper, I've got some projects for you. So great things to do with the kids and the grandkids when they're home from school break or home on a snow day. I think we had 2 snow days this week. Was it this week? They canceled school yesterday because it was just like icy, sleety, yuck. And I think they did, maybe it was once last week, I'm not sure, but yeah, you want to have ideas for those basic supplies you have at home for, you know, for kids. Everyone's got markers, pretty much. Everyone's got crayons if you got little kids. So that's going to be posting tomorrow. And I've got to film that James Gurney book flip through. You guys asked for that last week. I haven't gotten to it yet because every time I sit down to read it, it's so dense that like I'll be reading a couple pages. It's like, oh, I need to digest this. This is such a good idea. I need to digest it. I need to do it, put it into practice, and then come back to the book. So I have not made a lot of progress in the book because everything is so good. Oh, I just love plein air painting and sketching outside and sketching from life. So Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. But I will get that flip through done because, and I don't think that's going to harm his sales at all because it's so dense. There's so much in there. But that's typical for a Gurney book. His color and light book was like that too. It's kind of like, okay, my brain is full. I need to go put this into practice and then come back. But yeah, I'm probably going to film that this afternoon anyway. The flip through anyway. But yeah, lots of good stuff going on. Let me see what I have on my list for notes. Oh my gosh. So last week, this was probably last Friday, maybe last weekend, I got, I was on Amazon and I was leaving a review for these envelopes that I bought, these plastic envelopes that I sorted my jelly prints into because they were really good quality, and I bought a set, it was like a set of 27, it was 3 sets of 9 unique colors, and I'm like, I just wanted one set of 9 colors, but they didn't sell that, so I wanted to leave a review talking about the quality, because the quality was really good. I was really happy with it. And I also wanted to suggest that, well, how about you sell a set of 9? So after I left that review, and I leave reviews quite often on Amazon just because I find it helpful when people leave a good review. Plus, I think it's really important to have reviews that are time-stamped, because when budget products come out, you can see all these really great reviews, but I always say look at the most recent reviews, because things change a lot of times in products. So I try to do a good turn and leave reviews myself. So I got a notice from Amazon saying you're eligible to join the Vine program. And I don't know if you've ever seen that. Like, you'll see reviews under products and it'll be like Vine reviewer of free product or something. And so I was looking at that. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I want to be obligated to review products, but let me look into this program anyway. And it turns out if you're a Vine reviewer, Amazon will send you a $10.99 for the value of everything you receive to review, but the full price value of it, and you've got to pay taxes on it as if they've paid you cash. So Amazon gets this massive tax write-off for anybody in the Vine program. If somebody, like, say they reviewed a comforter, like a bed comforter or something, and it was $100, and there was a 50% off coupon on it, they would be given a $10.99 for $100, not for that discount price that people could buy it for. So I'm like, that's really shady. That's really shady, because at the end of the year, that could really sting you with taxes. If you're self-employed, you pay 15% tax for your self-employment. That's like both sides of your payroll tax, then your income tax on top of that. And I'm like, that could really hit you. And it's not like you can send them a comforter. The IRS is not going to let you send them a comforter to pay your taxes on that. So I'm like, no, I don't want to be obligated to work for free and then get a $10.99 at the end of the year saying I earned all this money that I didn't because it's just a bunch of Amazon crap. Not that it's all crap, because I do recommend and review some art supplies on Amazon. Well, there's a lot of third-party sellers out there that's one of the platforms they sell on, and I have no problem with that. But Amazon, the big company, kind of coming out and taking advantage of people reviewing, I don't know, maybe other, and people probably have different points of view. It's like, well, it's free stuff. So what? You're paying taxes on it. But that can really add up. That could really add up. And I just wanted to mention that in case you get introduced into that program. Just make sure you know what you're getting into before you sign on the dotted line. I respectively declined that offer, but it's always interesting to find out new little scams that are out there. I mean, things that are happening. Oh, I painted this for the liquid paint challenge this week. I loved how it came out. There is a picture, still shot of this on my community tab if you want to take a look. I just liked it. I don't know. Anyway, happy Valentine's Day, a day late because you'll be watching this on Saturday. I hope you have a wonderful, love-filled weekend. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye!